the very first plants, which are nothing but algae. During the evolution process, the very first plants are the algae. Today we are going to discuss. And see, the very first one here, we have discussed about the different types of classification systems. See, this one is also one of the important concept for the competitive point of view. Natural classification system. See here, natural classification system is the most accepted plant classification system. Remember, whatever the classification systems are there, in all these, the most accepted classification system right now we are following the plant classification system is the natural classification system. Right? See here, whatever that plants are there, the plants are classified not only based on morphological characters. Here morphological characters means, see, there is an external morphological characters are there and internal morphological characters are there. Morphology, okay, for suppose study about the particular characters of the organisms or particular characters of here plants. See, external morphology, study about the external characteristic features of organism. Internal morphology, study about internal characteristic features of organisms. For suppose, external morphology, leaf number, leaf shape, flower color. Okay, flowers contains the characteristic features, stem characteristic features, roots characteristic features, and the growth. Okay, the growth and the type of stem, type of the stem. So all these are nothing but external characteristic features. Whatever the characters which are identified by the naked vision, right? That characters are considered as external morphological characteristic features. Okay, and internal characteristic features means, see, if we cut the plant, there is a tissues are there, arrangement of tissues. There is a microanatomy is there. Okay, if we cut the anther, within the anther, okay, arrangement of tissues, within the ovule, arrangement of tissues. Right? So here concept is, whatever that external characteristic features are there and whatever that internal characteristic features are there, these two are combinedly called as, okay, morphology. See here, natural classification system not only considered the external morphological characters, also considered the internal morphological characters. Not only that one, within the flower, okay, arrangement of sex organs. See how the ovules are arranged, how many number of stamens are present, right? So all these characters also considered. See, within the natural classification system, okay, the plant contains all characters are considered. Means arrangement of tissues and types of the tissues and and different types of the cells. Okay, and sexual reproduction characters. Majorly here, sexual reproductive characters are considered. Okay, along with that morphological characters, type of root, type of stem, type of leaves, and all these are also considered. See, the natural classification system is the most accepted system. This one is proposed by the Bantam and Hooker. Scientist names are Bantam and Hooker. Right? Bantam and Hooker, okay, one of the best scientists. Both the scientists are proposed. The theory is called as natural classification system. Here, theory means the type of classification is natural classification system. Right? So that is about natural classification system. Understanding the phylogenetic classification system. Here, phylogenetic characteristic features. Okay, phylogenetic characteristic features are majorly considered. Here, phylogenetic characteristic features are nothing but, see, whatever that plant, whatever that organisms are there, or whatever the plants are there. Okay, see, within that organisms, ancestors are there. For suppose human beings, human ancestors are there, our grandparents are there, again their grandparents, right? So that is nothing but ancestors. That is nothing but ancestors. Within the plants also, okay, the phylogenetic classification means study about the ancestors genetic material. Ancestors genetic material. See, phylogenetic classification is one of the comparison type of classification. Simply, our genes compared with our ancestors. Our ancestors' genes compared with again their ancestors. So, phylogenetic classification is majorly depends on the classification of organisms based on phylogenetic characters. Phylogenetic characters are nothing but ancestors contains genes and their arrangement, right? And different types of characteristic features are considered here. Very simple. Phylogenetic classification depends on phylogenetic characters. Phylogenetic characters are nothing but classification based on ancestors and their genes arrangement, and their different types of tissues arrangement. Based on that, the organisms are classified. Basically here, majorly here, the classification is based on ancestors' genes arrangement. See, just comparison between our DNA and our ancestor DNA, right? So that kind of classification is called as phylogenetic classification, right? Next one is the numerical taxonomy. Taxonomy indicates here, taxo is nothing but arrangement of organisms, nomy in a particular order. See, taxonomy is nothing but classification of organisms based on some rules. Taxonomy indicates here classification of organisms based on some rules, right? That one is nothing but taxonomy, right? Taxo, arrangement of organisms based on nomy indicates here based on some rules, right? So here numerical taxonomy. This is strictly computer-based method. This is the computer-based method. See, whatever the organisms are there, the organisms are here classified. Based on the morphological characteristic features. Simply here, computer is there. Computer supporting for the generation of data. For suppose one of the hibiscus rosa sinensis plant is there. Hibiscus rosa sinensis. In Telugu, Mandana, right? The plant name is Mandana, right? The plant characteristic features are collected. That one entered to the computer. And again another plant, characteristic features are collected, right? Again the characteristic features are entered to the data, right? So all these characters are counted. For the classification of organisms. Numerical taxonomy based on, here we know about the numeric. Numeric is nothing but number. Here numerics are nothing but here number. See, based on number of characters, the organisms are classified. Here plants, that's the reason why based on number of characters, plants are classified, right? See, for the counting purpose, we are using the computer. Based on the computer data, we are classifying the plants. Right? That is about the numerical taxonomy. Right? And coming to the next one is the cytotaxonomy. Here, cytotaxonomy is nothing but cyto indicates your cell. Based on the arrangement type of the cells. Means, for suppose one of the plant is there in the plant, there is a simple tissues are there, right? And there is a complex tissues are there. There is a special tissues are there. Simple tissues, the best example is the whatever the parenchyma is there. Parenchyma contains the very smooth cells. These are nothing but one type of simple tissue. And there is a parenchyma is also simple tissue. Sclerenchyma is also one type of simple tissue. Right? So these are the one type of cells. For suppose complex tissues, the best example is the xylem is there and phloem is there. So what I am trying to say here, based on type of cells, based on type of tissues, okay, the organisms are classified. The organisms are classified. That kind of classification is called as cytotaxonomy. Cytotaxonomy. And last one, chemotaxonomy. Chemo indicates here chemical, right? We know. Based on the plant contain chemical components. Based on the plant contain chemical components, the plants are classified. Based on the plant contains chemical components, the plants are classified. That one is called as chemotaxonomy. Remember all of you, in all these classifications, here the best classification is the natural classification system. Within natural classification system, not only morphological characters, not only counted the morphological characters, along with the morphological characters, all characters are all characters are included. See, the cytochemistry also required, and cytotaxonomy is also required, and embryological studies also required, right? So within the natural classification system, for the classification of plants, all characters are counted. The best classification system right now we are following classification system is the natural classification system proposed by the Bantam and Hooker. Remember here major characters for the classification is sexual characters. Whatever that plants contains flowers, the flowers based on the floral characters. Here the plants are classified. Right? So that is about the natural classification system. Phylogenetic classification system based on ancestor characters. The organisms are classified. Right? And numerical taxonomy based on the number of characters. See, this is one of the computer-based method. We are generating the data. Right? And cytotaxonomy. Cyto means cells. Based on cell structure, cell shape, and cell functions, and types of the tissues, here organisms are classified. This one is called as cytotaxonomy. And next one is the chemotaxonomy. Chemo indicates here based on the chemical components. We know some of the medicinal plants are there which are having very special type of chemical components. We discussed about in biomolecules chapters. There is alkaloids are there, resins are there, peptides are there, tannins are there, right? And different types of chemical components are there. Based on that chemical components, here organisms are classified, right? So that is nothing but the chemotaxonomy. Right? That is about the different types of classification systems. All of you remember, the best system is natural classification system. And coming to the next one, algae. See here, algae term coined by the Linnaeus. Algae, the term first coined by the Linnaeus. We know Carolus von Linnaeus is one of the best scientists. He did the classification system, right? One of the two kingdom classification system, right? And study about algae is called as phycology. Right? And father of phycology, the scientist name is the Fritsch. Fritsch is the scientist. Okay, he is called as father of phycology. And father of Indian phycology. Is the M.O.P. Iyengar. Right? See here, whatever that algae are there, algae are simple thalloid. Simple thalloid is nothing but the organisms are having thallus structures, or the plants are having thallus structures. For suppose this is one of the algae having the group of cell mass is there. Within that cell mass, different number of cells are there, or many number of cells are there, and all these cells are having chlorophyll. So why this body structure is called as thallus? Thallus means undifferentiated plant body unable to differentiate into root system, okay, and shoot system, right? Means there is no separate roots and there is no separate stem and there is no separate leaves-like structures. So here the plant pods are unable to differentiate it. The plant pods are unable to differentiate it. So that structure is called as thals. That structure is called as thals. So here there is a simple thalloid, right? And the chlorophyll contains largely aquatic organisms. We know during the evolution process, the life was evolved first within water. That is about the prokaryotic cells. Gradually, okay, from prokaryotic cells to eukaryotic cells. Here these are the plants. Still, the very first plants are grown in water. The very first originated plants are evolved within the water. So here, most of these algae are aquatic organisms. Most of these algae are aquatic organisms. We know there is a fresh water is there, normal water, right? Marine water and salt water. Brackish water is also there. Brackish water means mixed. The fresh and marine water is mixed. That water is called as brackish water. So within these three regions, okay, the algae will be suffered. Remember, majority of the cases, 99% of the cases, here these algae are grown with the water. These algae are grown with the water. Right? And in the last class also we discussed about the characteristic, the main characteristic features of the algae. Algae, these are the first plants, and these are non-embryo plants, means which not produces any embryos. Here only zygotes are produced, and these are non-archegonates, means around the male and female, okay, gametes there is no multicellular jacketed system. Right? And see, I already said these are non-archegonates, and the very important point is these are atrachiophytes, means xylem and phloem is act. The last class also I said these plants are not required as xylem and phloem because these plants are directly contact with the water. From the water, what is observed? Okay, along with the water, minerals also observed. The food matter is inside the plant. So these organisms, especially grown within the water. So what about the life of algae without water? Mostly these organisms are not suffered. Presence of water only these organisms are suffered. If the water is absent, okay, again 99% of the cases these organisms are unable to survive. Right? So here algae, so that is about the main characteristic features of the algae. And see, the algae having that microscopic structure and the macroscopic structure. Microscopic structure means some of the algae are unicellular algae. The best example is Chlamydomonas is there. And some of the algae are huge plant bodies are produced. Okay, there is an ectocarpus is there. I'll explain. Okay, again we have the classification system: chlorophyce, phaeophyce, rhodophyce. Right? We'll discuss in that case which type of algae forms the huge structures and which type of algae is the microscopic structures. We'll discuss in the next one.